we're going to write our very first program. And something I want you to consider as we do this, that C programming is both very easy and very hard. It's easy in that you don't have to remember a lot of ideas and concepts that come from it. There's very few keywords you need to memorize, very few ideas that exist. But it's hard because if you are not careful, you can not only break things very quickly, you don't get a lot out of the box right away, and you have to write it yourself. The amount of freedom that you are given in C means you can make mistakes. And so in this regard, it's both easy and hard. But who cares about any of that? Let's write some code. So this is going to be kind of the order of things that we're going to do. First, we're going to write hello world. We're going to compile hello world, and then we're going to break it down into its component parts. And then we're going to introduce some of the core ideas we're going to be taught, a roadmap, if you will, throughout this entire series that I want to do. And then we're going to wrap up. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure that you have everything installed. So let's go ahead and we are going to type the following commands. As you can see, I have my text editor all set up the way that I want it. Yours is not going to look like mine, and it's not going to be as pretty as mine. That's okay. And yours might be more pretty than mine if you've done this before. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to type this phrase called include. We'll talk about what include means, but just follow along to what I'm doing. So std.io, and then we're going to type int main, open parentheses, close parentheses, open curly brace. And you're going to hit enter, and then you're going to type printf, and then open quote, hello, comma, world, and then preferably you're going to have this little thing called an escape character, and that's going to be \n for new line, the new line escape character. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. And then a semicolon. Then we're going to hit return 0. Now you don't have to do that in modern C, but I like to do it. And then you're going to do the close curly brace, and that is all you need. And for me, I'm going to write it, so save it however you save it, and then you can just exit, go to your terminal, and then we're going to type in gcc hello.c, and then we're going to type this little thing called a flag. It's going to be -o, and that says we want it to be output a specific way, and I'm going to type in hello, and it should output nothing. It should say nothing if it runs correctly. Nothing is good. We want nothing to happen. There should be no messages that pop up whenever we do that. And so what you're going to want to do on Linux and on Mac is type // and then whatever you named it. So in my case, it's going to be hello. And you hit enter, and it should output hello world. And that's it. You've written your very first program. This program in particular was the very first program that was included into the original C programming language book. So not only did they create the greatest programming language on the face of the planet, they also invented the greatest program on the face of the planet. Hello world. So let's go ahead and let's break down what just happened, what you just did. Before we can talk about what we actually wrote and how it actually works, we need to talk about compilation. What you do is you take your source file. And what C does is it preprocesses, it does some preprocessing stuff to it to clean it up. Then it compiles it, and compiling we'll talk about in its own set of videos. And then it assembles all of the different files you've included together. So it assembles it all together, then it links it all, and then it produces the output, which is your executable, the program you can actually run. And so to break down hello world, now that we've talked about how to compile it or how compilation works at a very high level, this is what you should have written. And so the very first line there on line 1, you see include, #include or octothorpe include. And that's called a header file, that .h file. And your header file can be thought of as, let's say I want to build a table from scratch. I don't need to build the miter saw used to build the table. I just need to make sure that I include a miter saw in my build process. And so I can just go to the store and get a saw. I don't have to design and build it myself. I can just borrow it from something else. And in this case, I'm borrowing this printf statement from std.io.h. Next, we have what's called our function, our main function, and everything runs through the main function. And as you can see, there's this phrase, int, before we have main. And int stands for integer. It's a type. We'll talk about types in their own video because they're really important to computer science. But main is a function. It takes in an input, performs some logic, and returns an output. That's what a function does. In this case, it returns an integer. And as you can see down here on line 7, we have this return keyword, return 0. And that means all good, nothing broke, everything fixed, it's all great. Anything other than 0 says, something bad happened. And in between all that nonsense, we have this statement, printf, hello world. And printf is the function we're borrowing from stdio.h. We want to print something out to the screen, and that's what that does. And then we have this little purpley character, the /n, that's called an escape character. We'll talk about those later. But we're trying to print out hello world and then a new line, and you can actually go ahead and try to remove the escape character, the /n, and see what happens when you do that. And then finally we have our semicolons. Those are like our periods. Without the semicolon, it doesn't work. You need your semicolon in C. Other languages don't need them. C does. And that's it. That is what hello world does. But in that little segment there, we've learned so much already. We've already are looking at a lot about how to do things. And to help you really understand what I mean by that is I want you to try to do the following things. I want you to not include int in front of main. I want you to not include a semicolon somewhere. I want you to print something other than hello world. Maybe not including the /n. And I want you to try printing multiple different things with multiple printf statements. We're going to cover a lot of stuff in this course. My biggest piece of advice to you is to write a lot of code. We're going to have a lot of things we're going to be building together as examples and ideas, and you're going to mess up quite a bit. What I want you to do is to keep trying, keep going, keep moving forward, keep writing things. That's the best thing you can offer yourself, is to write stuff, to build stuff. And I'm going to include in the description a link to a bunch of different projects that you can do. In our next video, we're going to be talking all about basic data. Core data ideas, variables, data operations, control flow, loops. These are the core things that all languages have, and we're going to really dig into what does it mean to have data? What does it mean to have complex data or basic data or to have a data type? It's going to be exciting, it's going to be a lot, but you're smart, you're capable, you're going to do it. You're going to make this, and you're going to make it through. We'll catch you in the next video.